Hello, we are starting a different project. We have the front door at the shop always has an open sign. We've made the open sign with a quilt that just has the word open going down, and it's pretty much become a symbol of whether we're open or not. If it's not on the door, people think we're closed. So we try to keep it on the door at all times to let them know, or while we're there, that we are open. Well, we've had the word open going down that door for so long that it was bright pink and purples and real pretty shades of colors. And it's become so faded over time that we need to replace that. So we decided, instead of replacing it with just an open sign again, let's do it different. Let's change it up. Let's do lots of different door hangers. And we can, one, teach people how to make the door hangers, and two, we'll have something creative and different on our door. So for the different seasons of the year, we'll put different ones up there. The different times of year, we'll put stuff up there. If it's not a holiday, it doesn't matter. It might be something like a snowman or a flag or, well, an ice cream cone, a pencil. It doesn't matter. There's lots of things going through my head right now that we are going to do a lot of door hangers. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to make a playlist of all of these door hangers. It'll take me a little while because we'll have to go through the year to get to them, so that whatever is pertinent for that upcoming time frame, that we have the right door hanger for that. They will all obviously be quilted. So we're going to get started with that. And well, right now it is August, meaning the next holiday to come up, the next big holiday will be Halloween, fall, that kind of thing. So I've already got a Halloween one made and it's got ghosts on it. We'll probably redo that one because it probably is a little faded too. But right now, the first one we're gonna do is we're gonna do a pumpkin. So I'm gonna start with that one for the fall. I'm gonna make a door hanger and you can make it with me. If you wanna make it with me, great. If you wanna watch, if you wanna learn, whatever you want to do, that's what we're gonna get started doing. So here we go. The first thing we're gonna do for this project is pick some fabrics. And well, pumpkins are normally orange. That doesn't mean you have to pick orange, but I am gonna pick orange. You could do pumpkins of lots of different colors and make them creative, however you wanna make yours, but I'm gonna make mine orange. So what I've done is I've gone through my stash and picked out fabrics that are at least 10 inches and squared and are orange. And well, you know me, Lori Holt fabric, love it. Lori Holt and I are best friends. The only problem is she doesn't know that. But I love her stuff. I don't think there's Lori Holt fabric I don't like. You can come into our shop and you can see that. We have a lot of Lori Holt fabrics, and that's because they're all good. They're all great fabrics. They all blend together so well. She can make a line of fabric today, and she can make a line of fabric 5 years ago. They're all gonna blend together. That's why I love her fabrics. And her patterns are so good. Well, anyway, my point is, I like Lori Holt fabrics, and that's what I'm gonna use. Well, all of them aren't Lori Holt, but some of them are. So I've picked some fabrics, and what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take them over here to this ironing station, and I'm gonna iron them out, and I'm gonna use my best press, and I am going to starch them. I want them good and crisp. I want them flat, no wrinkles, and well, then we'll start cutting. So let's get to ironing. Here's my little makeshift ironing station. I have another table that we've covered in a previous video, but it is at the shop, so it is not here with me now, so I am using this one. I'm going to take this, I'm going to iron them with the best press, spray it good, iron it. I'm going to do the same thing with each of the fabrics I've picked out. I don't yet know how many pumpkins I want to put down this sign that's going to go on our front door. So I don't know how many prints I'm going to do. I could do them all the same fabric, or I could do them different fabrics. I am going to do them different fabrics. So I've picked, I guess I've got 4 fabrics here. I'm probably not going to use them all, but I am going to get them ready just in case I use them. That way I will be ready for them. So I know you don't want to watch me iron all these. I'm just going to keep going until I've ironed them all, and then I'll meet you back here. So I've been playing with my fabrics, and I had multiple different fabrics, and I had some yellowy oranges, but I think I've decided that I love this piece. I know I want this piece in it. And I think I've decided, I know I like this one. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pumpkin in here, and then this pumpkin, and then this pumpkin again. So I only need 2 fabrics for this project, but I'm going to get them ready and I'm going to start cutting them. So let's go to the cutting table. Here we are over at the cutting table. Since I know I want 2 pumpkins out of this fabric, I've got this laying doubled over so that I can cut 2 at a time. Then I'm picking my other fabric that I just wanted 1 pumpkin from, and I'm going to lay it on top of this. I'm going to line them up. I think it's really designed to do them 1 at a time, but you know me, and well, I'm not specifically going by the rules. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to line them up because 3 is not too hard to cut through. So I've got my 3 here. Then I'm going to take this pumpkin paper from Lori Holt, and it's pumpkin quilt paper. I'm only going to use 1. And how this is designed is you take this paper and you iron it down on this fabric, on whatever fabric you're going to cut. So I'm going to iron this to this, and then we'll come back. I'm back from the ironing station. This is ironed down, so it's adhered to the fabric. It's not going to leave a residue, so we are good. I've done this multiple ways. You can do it whatever way you feel comfortable. You don't have to iron it down. I've done it without ironing it, and I've done it with ironing it. But I've ironed this one down, and I'm going to cut on the outside of this. Now, it uses a 10-inch block. You could very well use a layer cake, and it's already cut for you. But this one, I'm just cutting because I didn't have a layer cake of the fabrics that I wanted. Now that I've got it cut and I'm ready to start the process, I am going to go by the instructions on this paper. This one says cut here first, this line. So I'm going to cut this line first. So I'm going to take my ruler and line it up right at that line. And I'm going to cut across like that. Okay? Then, now that I've cut that, I'll cut all the other ones. So I'll cut here and here, then I'll cut these, and then I'll have all the different stacks of each number, like a stack of 1s, a stack of 2s, stack of 3s. If you're doing a quilt, of course, you'll have more fabrics than just these 3, but this is going to be a wall hanging, so I only need these 3 because I only want 3 pumpkins on mine. So I'm going to take this and line it up to this line, cut it, come over to this line, and cut it. Come the same way here on this 4. Cut it. Come over to 5. Line up the ruler. Cut it. 6. You don't necessarily have to do them in numerical order. You do need to do the one that says cut here first. You do need to do that one first. But the other ones, it doesn't really matter what order you do them in. Now that I've got them all cut, I'm ready for the next step, which is to go back over to the sewing machine and start sewing together. I'm back at the sewing machine ready to sew them together. I've got my pieces in order right here. And remember, you do not have to iron this down. You can if you want to, you don't have to. And I do multiple at a time, and let me show you that it does not do a residue. So see that paper's off? There's no residue on here. It's just a cute fabric ready to be put together. So I'm going to take all of these papers off. once I get them off, I've got all my fabrics sitting here ready to be used. So I'm going to put these to the papers to the side. And here's my pumpkin. Now what I'm wanting to do, let me turn you over this way just a little bit so you can see it. This is the pumpkin right here. All this outside is the outside. So here's your pumpkin right here. This piece and this piece. Well, I want that to be the pumpkin. So I'm going to take this and this, and that'll be one pumpkin. I want it like this. See how the pumpkin is a different color than my border? So I'm going to put this piece to the side for now. I'll use it with the next corresponding piece. So I can sew my rows back together just like we cut them. We're going to put them back together. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to take this piece, and they fit together. These three pieces fit together like that to be sewn back together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this on top of each other, and I'm going to sew them just like that. Everything I'm doing is a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to sew this, sew this one on. Iron it open. And then I'm going to take this other piece that went with it, and I'm going to put it with it. And I'm going to iron straight down that seam. So it's looking like I'm sewing them crooked, but I'm not. It's because this piece is slanted. So I'm going to sew them down this side right here at a 1/4 inch. When I get this sewn together, I'll iron it open. And now my top piece is put together. I'm gonna move these to the side right now. Okay, so I've got my top piece done right here. I need to now put this set together. So I'm gonna take one side to the big pumpkin. And then I'm going to sew this down this side, just like that. I'm going to iron it open. I'll do the same thing for this corresponding piece. Flip it right sides together, line it up, sew down this side. So now this piece is done. Now I just need to sew these two pieces on. So take these pieces to the side over here. These are ready to sew like this. Put it right sides together. Sew across here. Do the same thing with this one, right side together. Sew down that side. Open it up. And now my pumpkin is ready to be put back together. I'll line this up with this and sew down this side. Make sure you keep it lined up. iron it open. And my pumpkin is done. So there's one pumpkin. Now I need to do some more. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to make it the pumpkin. I'm going to put these pieces like this, and it's going to be the opposite of that pumpkin we just did. So then I'll use this one here. I'll take that one there, there, and there. And now I'm going to do this pumpkin. I'm going to do this one the same way I did this one. One important thing that I didn't take into account when I was getting my fabrics ready, usually when I'm doing these, it's for a bigger project like a quilt or a table runner, and you'll have more prints. But since this is going to be a door hanger, I don't need it as big as I would any other project. So when I picked out the two prints, this one and this one, I can alternate it like this, but then I've got this last piece that is all going to be the same. Well, I don't want that. So I'm going to use that pumpkin for a different project. And I got me another fabric, and I've gone ahead and cut it up into the pumpkin. And I'm going to alternate this with this. So I'll take this and put it here, and I'll take this and put it here. And now we're ready to sew this pumpkin together. And then this one I'll use for another project that I've got very soon. So I'll put this one to the side for now, save it for later, and I'm going to sew this one together just like we sewed these here. Now that I've got my blocks made, I've squared them up. The pattern says that the pumpkins should be 7 inches. I've squared them up to 8 inches. I just want mine a little bit bigger. So if you want to go by the pattern, the pumpkin should be 7 inches. Mine are 8 inches. So I've got an 8-inch piece of fabric that I'm going to put between the pumpkins. So I've got to decide where I want my pumpkins. And I think I'm going to want them like this. So I'm going to put this one at the bottom. I'm going to sew this right sides together along this edge. I'm still using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When I get this sewn on, I'm going to iron it open. And then I'm going to take my next pumpkin that I want above it, and I'm going to put it right sides together. And then I'm going to sew it across that line, just like I did the sashing. When this gets done, I'll iron it open. So now I've got 2 of them sewn together. I'm going to take this last sashing that is 8 inches as well, right sides together, sew across this line. Then I'm going to iron it open. Now I've got 2 pumpkins sewn on with the sashing. Then I'm going to take my top pumpkin, flip it down, right sides together, and sew across here. You can do whatever size sashing you want. but I have done a 2-inch strip in between the pumpkins, and I'm gonna do 2.5 on the outsides. So now I'm gonna need a strip up here and a strip down here, and then a strip on the sides. So I'll put one up here and one down here, and then I'll do the sides. So now I'm gonna sew one strip to the bottom and one strip to the top. You can do whatever size sashing you want, but I have done a 2-inch strip. You can do it larger, you can do it smaller, it's just a preference thing. But this is going on my front door at the shop, and I don't want it really big. I want it noticeable, but I don't want it to take the whole door up. So I chose a 2-inch sashing between mine. Now I'm gonna iron that open. And I'm gonna do the same thing to the top. So now, all my pumpkins are done. All I need to do now is take my strip for the sides and sew it on each side, just like I did these strips here. And I'll sew it down the side. I'm gonna start pinning from the middle to one end and then the middle to the other end, and then I'll sew it. Well, as you can see outside, time got away from me. But I am done with the top of this door hanger, and this is what it looks like. So I've got my 3 pumpkins. I need to iron it again, and then I'm going to take it to the shop and figure out what fabric I want to back it with. I also want to make sure I don't need to add another border, because there's a spot on the door that we have the adhesives to hold on to this, and I want to make sure that it fits. I think it does like this, but I may have to add another border to make it work better. But I'll see when I get there tomorrow. I think this is pretty much done though. So there's my pumpkins. I'm gonna iron them, and then I am going to quilt it, find a back for it, quilt it, and get it hung up on the door. So stay tuned and we'll finish the project. I've got it up on the long arm now. All I need to do is quilt it. I've started quilting at the top. We're just gonna do a meander on this one. Not a big deal for this one. Some of the other ones I might outline some things or do some specific quilting to it, but for this one it's just gonna be meander, so I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing this until I get it all done, then we'll bind it and have it ready to hang on the door.